welcome. You're with me, Salil, and I'll tell you something. Filmmaking is a process. You come in for 2 hours as a viewer, you'll watch and you'll say, wow, or not wow. But the process, the behind the scenes that goes into it, you know, the development of the script, the development of the artist, the people that come across, you know, and sometimes you realize in the middle of all that process, is it worth it? When you see actors like Prithviraj and Jimmy, welcome to India and welcome to my show. You just say it all looks worth it. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you, Jimmy, for joining us.
Thank you.
Hospitality in 20 minutes is whatever I can offer, we will offer. But just being here, you know, a man who's, you know, known all across the country, just being around Prithviraj and, you know, with all the people that have come in and spoken, what's your sense of him now as a star as compared to him as an actor that you've been around him? It would be fun to know that.
Well, I mean, I think I had an idea because based on the very first time I met him in the desert of Algeria in Timimoun, as I was sitting in my little seat, you know, on set, comes someone surrounded by like 10 people. I was like, what the blood is this? It was like a mirage. And then came Raj. So that's how I discovered him. So I knew that somehow in his country he was like up there. But it's true. I mean, being around him here, you know, give me a better sense of who he is. And I mean, I could tell as well on set on what kind of person, what kind of actor he was, you know, because he was very professional. He did the job extremely well. But here in India, yes, I can see why people are overwhelmed by his presence, you know. Poor
And
guy, he can't even walk anywhere. I mean, I don't know how you do, bro.
also by how brave you are. You know, why I actually love to establish that as well, because a lot of actors that are, you know, that have done so well for themselves in their career, stop taking a lot of risks over a period of time, because obviously you might dent your stardom, or, you know, the fan following will be a little upset and all that. You're not like that at all. You always will try different things, and at times it can seem, you know, is it the right choice? I'm sure you would have had, you know, when you look back on it and all, but as an actor, are you able to separate the fan following which asks questions ki bhai mujhe, I want this?
Yeah, so I'm very blessed that way, that, you know, traditionally, I come from an industry where traditionally big stars are appreciated when they try and be adventurous with what they do.
True.
But it also comes from a sense of realizing very early on in your career that these things will cease to matter very soon to you as a person, because you know, the fame, after a while you sort of become unaware of it. I mean, you're aware of it, but it doesn't make you know, it doesn't sort of make your life any different, because you're there. I mean, that's what you do for a living, and the money, after a while you'll realize actually is not going to change your life anymore.
Correct.
Like, yeah, I mean, you could be driving in a more expensive car, but you're still going to the same place.
Yes.
And
you still stop at the same traffic signal.
Yeah,
and you still have to wait.
Yeah, you could be waking up in a bigger bedroom, but you're waking up still the same way. So it's just, that doesn't make any difference to the life that you live. What will then keep you going is that you still are in love with what you're doing. Yeah. And for that to be the case, you know, you will have to challenge yourself as an actor, as an artist, actually. You will have to be faced with situations that question you. You'll have to actually be faced with situations that tell you, that make you aware deep down you're still not good enough, you know. You need to pull your socks up. Because the moment you start thinking, yeah, that's it, maybe, you know, nothing more to do or nothing more to, you know, achieve, then you become a plateau of a person. And that's not a fun way of existing. And I'm also thankful because, you know, I've had the privilege of interacting with a lot of the legends in my industry, and if people think after 22, 23 years, I'm still trying so hard, look at them, after 40, 50 years, they are still trying so hard. I mean look at Bachchan sir, you know, I mean, there's no better example than that. He's still reinventing himself. You don't know what he's going to do in the next film. He could come up with anything, you know. He could come up with a chini kam or a pa, he could do anything. So yeah, so that's the way to be as an artist.
You know, when you talk about two big words there, you love what you do and there's a lot of challenge. But this really was a big challenge. I mean, reading about it, sometimes things can be exaggerated when you read about, you know, it's taken a long time. You've actually grown.
Yeah.
While this film is being conceived and made, you know, your stardom, your maturity as an actor, it has grown. The scale of this film, the visuals, are all today.
Yeah.
But the entire process in your head, I mean, Prithviraj 10, 15 years ago and now also, are you happy that this came in your career now, or would you have timed it earlier?
So the thing is, the film actually Blessy came to me with the film in 2009.
Yes.
And we started shoot in 2018.
Correct.
Which is almost 10 years.
Yes.
And why it took 10 years was back in 2009, it was impossible
Yes.
to envision something like this, at least from Malayalam.
Correct.
It was impossible to imagine that we could pull this off. Yeah. And even in 2009, Blessy's vision for the film was this big, this grand. So it took 10 years for us to be able to finally reach a place, both industry-wise and for this project, to be able to start shoot. Yeah. And in a way, I'm very glad that it took those 10 years, because it is what happened, what transpired in those 10 years that brought us to a situation where we were capable of doing it the way we have done it today. And I'm also glad that it is releasing when it is releasing now. Because 10 years ago, as we speak today, 16 years ago, Malayalam cinema, for that matter, even Indian cinema, I do not think had a network or a system in place where our films could travel internationally so well.
Of course.
Today, we can release our films in multiple countries at the same day with a proper distribution network. That didn't exist back then. So the fact that...
But your mindset as an actor, did it
absolutely
hugely change, I'm sure?
See, I mean, when I said yes to the film, forget the actor part of it. I mean, when I said yes to the film, I wasn't married, I wasn't a father, I wasn't a producer yet, I wasn't a director yet. I mean, it's I have a 9-year-old daughter today. Yeah, wow. So that
she's actually almost that period taken from the
exactly.
inception.
So I mean, it's I've evolved so much as a man, as a human being, that I'm sure that reflects in my performance. I hope it reflects for the good, but I'm sure it does reflect in my performance. So yeah, I'm actually, in retrospective, I'm very glad that what happened had happened. But I also should admit, we never thought it was going to be such a long journey. Blessy and me thought it's going to be a 2-year process maybe. But things like the pandemic coming in between, the shoot being suspended for almost 2 years in between, those were challenges or obstacles I wish did not happen, but they were all experiences from which we are all richer. So, yeah.
Anyway, I think now that the audiences, a lot has changed. And, Jimmy, in the last 3-4 years, I think Indian audiences have changed to a level which I couldn't fathom 4-5 years ago. I've also been here about 23 years. I mean, there was a yes and a no earlier. Now there's a yes and a no by one section of the audience. Then there's another one. There's a Gen Z that comes in there. You're also doing world cinema. And when you come in there, now because it's available on OTT, you're able to watch it. People around you, have they really started calling cinema world cinema, or is it still country-wide regional cinema, and rarely do you venture beyond your own language cinema?
Me?
Yeah, you yourself and the people around you.
Well, personally, I live in Los Angeles, so I do movies in Hollywood, but I also do projects in France, in Africa, in England, in South America. In multiple languages, pretty much. So I'm that's what I've always been doing in my life. I've always experienced different countries and different cultures. So it's normal for me to embrace a new cinema. But it's true that after the COVID-19, because of the explosion of the streamers, now it's easier for an audience to accept movies from everywhere. The huge success of Narcos or Squid Game now opened the doors to Indian movies, for example. They'll be willing to watch and maybe think that can be the next big success. So
when
now
was the
there's
first time
definitely
you
an
heard
audience.
of or saw an Indian film online? Just a clipping and say, all right, this is great. This is a different language. This is from India.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm aware of India because I was here like 25 years ago. So, in '96, that was my first time here in...
As a model, as a model.
As a model.
But cinema, then?
No, nothing to do with cinema then. But I always knew that Bollywood was the #1 producers of movie in the world. I've done movies in Nollywood, I've done movies in Hollywood, so I knew about Bollywood. It's just that I've never done anything in India. And I don't even know if this is considered Bollywood, because I'm not sure exactly
this
on all the...
more Mollywood, right?
But that's the thing, right? I mean, the woods are merging.
Yeah. In the eyes of an American, this is Bollywood.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
True.
Because it's from India.
Yeah.
They don't understand the different states and the distinctions between one side or another. So
The difference is actually a Prithviraj film could make as much money as a Bollywood film makes in one state, what Bollywood would require all of India to make sometimes. I think that power actually, I have so many friends of mine that, live in Hyderabad and live in Karnataka and all. And whenever they make films there, they tell me, how can you sometimes tell me, that your audiences are loyal to you all when it takes all of the country to make that much money sometimes. And sometimes in one region. And that is the loyal fan base. Are you shocked sometimes that over the years, for all the stars, they just come religiously to watch everything on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so that the star is able to get a longer release and continues more.
So I have to tell you that even when you say South cinema, it is impossible for you to just generically classify.
Yes.
So South cinema is 4 different industries.
Yes.
It is the Telugu industry, which is the biggest industry.
Yes.
Then there is Tamil, which is also huge. Then there is Kannada, which is now flourishing and growing. And then there is Malayalam, which in terms of probably numbers and revenue as we speak today is only beginning to flourish and find its true potential. But traditionally is associated with great content and making great films. But where South cinema was lagging and where we are still nascent to a large extent is our distribution systems outside of our own states and outside the country. Bollywood cracked that, I think, with the advent of the Khans and with Shah Rukh sir and Salman sir and Amir sir really taking their films internationally, I think Bollywood cracked the distribution system and network somewhere late 90s, early 2000s. Bollywood cracked it. We did not.
Correct.
I think for us, it needed a Rajamouli sir to suddenly, come out and make a Bahubali
Real
and shock the
pan-India.
world,
Yes.
and then tell us that forget South North. Let's now talk the world. So now we are thinking, like say for example this film. I keep repeating this because as you can see on the poster, this is being released by Anil Tadhani in the northern circuits, which is Anil is probably one of the leading distributors of the north markets. Red Giant in Tamil Nadu, again market leaders. Maitri in Andhra Telangana, again market leaders. Hombale in Karnataka, market leaders. And my own company in Kerala. This wasn't possible. This wasn't possible, forget 10 years ago, this wasn't possible 3 years ago maybe. So now that we have realized this is the way to be doing things, I think Malayalam cinema specifically and South cinema in general will now flourish even further. We will now find that there are untapped markets, there are more revenue streams, there are more ancillaries to be exploited. And that is the reason why you're suddenly seeing a Malayalam cinema doing 175 crores, which was unheard of. So now a 100 crore Malayalam film no longer is a shocker for anyone.
It's like what happened with the Kannada industry over a period of time, last 3-4 years. But when you see a film like this labor of love that has taken a while, the last day of shoot, is it more relief or is it an excitement? Now let's just see how it's come out. I mean, I know you do so many films. You'll do films and blend in 40 days, some of them 3 months. But this epic, when it finishes, is there now relief at least that we can put it out?
It's very strange because I didn't know what to feel the last day of shoot. We did the last day of shoot, the last shot, and that particular day and that moment for me was punctuated with my first meeting with Najib, the real life character. So it was by design that we had decided I will not meet or speak to Najib till I finish the film. So the last day of shoot, we had invited Mr. Najib onto the sets, and I finished my last shot, and I straight went back to the camera, and that's when I actually spoke to him for the first time. And we have recorded that conversation. So for me, the biggest memory of the last day of shoot is that. But having said that, when you've done as many films as I have, you develop a method where you disassociate with the character and the films that you do. Because it's important. You have to move on now to the next bit of work you're doing. And I would like to believe I'm quite good at that, like distancing myself with something that I've done and then walking away from it. As much as I'm going to try, I think I'm not going to be able to do that completely as far as this character and film is concerned, because I've lived with it for 16 years. I have ideated for it for that long. I'm 41 years old today, and 16 years of 41 is a significant amount of time. So I think I'm probably going to be living with a bit of Najib inside me now for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Based, of course, on the Malayalam novel and Adu Jeevitam and as the goat life. And like I said, in various languages, as Prithviraj was saying, it is going to be out there. But, when you do so much cinema, as he said, he can disassociate. How do you deal with the praise and the criticism in various parts of the world that you've done cinema, Jimmy? Do you take any criticism to heart? Do you watch? I get affected sometimes. There may be 200 comments, but there's 2, 3 on my Instagram will sometimes affect me.
Yeah.
Have you developed thick skin for that?
I don't really read those messages, to be honest with you, because I mean, at the end of the day, you create art, and people are, they can take it however they want, so you can't really force them to like or not to like something that you've done. So maybe sometimes, might take note of a few things, or maybe people come to you and say this and that, but at the end of the day, it's before shooting that you should know what you're doing. If you're happy with what you do, it doesn't matter what comes back to you, because this is what you wanted to put out there and let it live. Yeah. So
for you as well, with this, if you have criticism, would it hurt a little bit more because of the scale of this?
So again, this is something I've said multiple times on interviews throughout my career, that I treat my success and failure the same way. It is important to learn the lessons that a success or a failure will teach you, but after that, it's equally important to walk away from it. Because it's very easy to hold on to a big success and just be there, Like, let's assume there's a big blockbuster, and it's happened to me in my career.
Of course.
There's a huge blockbuster. There is then a success celebration, and then your Dubai distributor will say, "Oh, we'd like to have a success bash in Dubai." So you go to Dubai and there's a bash, and the bash is never one day; it's like a 3-day bash. And then your North American distributor says, "Oh, we'd like to host you for a success bash." Wow. So you go to North America, you go to New York, and there's a bash there. Yeah. Then suddenly your Asia Pacific distributor calls, "Oh, we'd like to host you in Melbourne." So. And suddenly you realize it's been 3 months since the film release and you're still celebrating.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with the failure. Let's say you've invested a lot into a film, you've given yourself to a film, and the film just bombs. Nobody likes it. It's just a disaster. Yeah. You could just be wallowing in the depths of that misery for as long as you want to, because both success and failure is quite sticky, if that way emotionally. So it's very important for you to walk away from it. So I keep saying that as far as the results of my films are concerned, whatever happens on the 28th of March, 29th morning I have something else to do, and I'll do it.
I like that. Is a workout also a great stress buster, or is it food, or is it video games, or is it shopping? This is for both of you all.
Well, I know the both of us hit the gym very regularly. Because I had set up a gym for Jimmy and myself even in the middle of the desert, actually.
Yes, indeed.
It's like a great bonding session for so many people. Years ago, there used to be, back in the 80s and the 90s, drinks and smoking was like a bonding session. Now I think it's all about the health part, which is fantastic. Yeah. People work.
And also with someone like Jimmy, the biggest bond you can have is the fact that we are both artists. Yeah. Forget the star part of it. That's actually always secondary. So I am a firm believer that you can only become a good actor. Yes. The stardom you can never get for yourself. That's given to you by people.
Absolutely.
What can you do? You can hone your craft. You can refine it, and you can be the best actor that your capabilities let you be. The stardom is not in your hands. So I know for a fact, now that I've worked with him, that Jimmy is constantly trying to better himself. And that is not even film to film, that's day to day, much like myself. If I did a scene yesterday, today I'm thinking, okay, how can I do it better? How can I do something that could have added another layer? And that is a hallmark of a good artist. That is a hallmark of a good artist who's trying to become a great artist. And the secret to it is, you should always be trying, Don't ever tell yourself that you're great.
I think that works, and also there's a lot of wisdom in here, because a number of years, they always say that, with great experience, you're able to learn so much more. And somehow you can never learn from too many other people's experiences also. When you sort of put that into your own life, you end up learning so much more. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. This looks fantastic, the scale, the visuals. And then also that little extra bit when you start reading the history of the film, of course based on a novel, but also what Najib went through, what he has gone through in the film, both on and off screen. I think it's going to be fantastic to watch. So thank you so much, and I hope you get a little day or two to at least explore Mumbai.
I hope so, but I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe next time around.
Yeah, he's done Juhu Beach and Marine Drive. Not bad in 2 days. Huh?
Yeah.
So I'll see you guys soon. Take care and bye-bye.